They slammed her to the sidewalk so hard that her backpack flew open, scattering her notebooks into the street. One officer had his knee pressed into her back, another was yelling at her to stop resisting. Even though she wasn't moving, she couldn't. Her face was twisted in pain, tears falling silently into the cracked pavement. A small group of bystanders had gathered, some filming, others just frozen in disbelief. Before we go further, if you're watching our video for the first time, you're highly welcome to Elliot Stories. Please comment which part of the world you're watching us from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is a banger you'll never want to miss. Her name was Maya. 16. Honor roll student. Just a regular black girl walking home from debate club on a Wednesday afternoon. She had her hoodie on, earbuds in, and didn't hear the police car pull up beside her until it was too late. They said she matched the description. Tall. Brown skin. Curly hair. That was all it took. They told her to stop. She turned around, confused, one AirPod still in her ear. "What's going on?" she asked. That's all it took to escalate everything. The officers claimed she reached into her backpack, so they acted preemptively. But all she was doing was pulling out her student ID, just like they asked. She wasn't rude. She didn't yell. She didn't even cry, until her cheek hit the ground. Someone shouted from across the street, "She's just a kid." A woman ran closer, filming on her phone and yelling at the officers to get off her. She didn't do anything. One of the cops, Officer Dean, turned and barked, "Back up. This doesn't concern you." But the damage was already done, the cameras were rolling. Maya's phone was still in her hand. She had pressed record without even realizing it. It captured the yelling, the scuffle, the click of handcuffs. And then, silence. She sat in the back of the patrol car, dazed, wrists red and raw. A scrape throbbed above her eyebrow. She asked again, "Can someone please call my dad?" She was calm now, trying not to panic. But she repeated it, quieter this time. "Please, just call my dad." They didn't take her seriously. Officer Dean chuckled, "What, your dad's gonna come down and scold us?" Maya looked up at him with a strange calm in her eyes. "No," she said. "But you're going to wish you had." They drove her to the precinct. On the way, she asked for her phone. "To call my father," she said again. "No phone calls till booking," Officer Dean snapped. At the front desk, they asked for her guardian's contact. Maya gave a number. "You'll want to call him," she said softly. "Right now." The booking officer dialed. The moment the voice on the other end answered, the man stiffened. "Yes, sir. I understand. Yes, sir. She's safe. Yes, I'll get the watch commander, immediately." The tone in the station changed fast. Whispering. Side glances. An officer sprinted toward the back office. Another picked up the internal phone line. 15 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up outside. Out stepped a tall, broad-shouldered black man in a navy suit, eyes sharp, jaw tight. He moved like someone used to walking into chaos and silencing it. No badge, no introduction, just presence. Maya, still handcuffed in the holding room, looked up when the door opened. Her voice trembled. "Dad." He walked straight to her. "Who touched you?" he asked, his voice low but loaded. "Are you okay?" She nodded as tears spilled down her face. "They said I matched some description. They slammed me. I didn't even." He pulled out his phone, tapped something, and handed it to a stunned officer in the room. "Here's a live feed from 3 witnesses," he said. "All say the same thing. No resisting. No reason." The officer stammered. "Sir, we didn't know." "You didn't ask," her father interrupted. "And that's the problem." The precinct suddenly looked smaller. Officers who had been laughing earlier now stood frozen. The booking officer quietly walked over and uncuffed Maya, avoiding her father's eyes. No one needed to ask who he was now. The whispers had already spread. "That's him. That's Director Caldwell. FBI." Officer Dean, who had made the arrest, was called into the supervisor's office. 10 minutes later, he came out pale, barely able to make eye contact. Outside, the neighborhood was buzzing. Maya's video had already started going viral. The woman who filmed the incident was now doing an interview on a local livestream. "This girl was just walking home," she said. "They didn't even ask for her name. They just saw her skin and decided she was guilty." Director Caldwell and Maya walked out of the station. Reporters had gathered already. Flashing lights. Microphones. But her father didn't speak to the press. He simply walked with Maya to the SUV, opened the door, and let her in. Inside the car, Maya whispered, "Are they going to get away with it?" Her father looked at her, eyes soft but steady. "Not if I have anything to say about it." He pulled out his phone again and started making calls. Quietly, calmly, like a man used to fixing disasters, but tired of having to fix the same one over and over. And while Maya leaned back in the seat, eyes closed, exhausted, the world outside had only just started to pay attention. By morning, #JusticeForMaya had climbed to over 2 million mentions on X, formerly Twitter. The short video clips, her face pressed into the sidewalk, her muffled voice asking for her dad, were everywhere. TikTokers were stitching the footage with their own reactions, lawyers were analyzing every second, and the news channels were finally catching up. What no one knew was that the real storm hadn't even started. Director Caldwell wasn't just Maya's father, he was also part of a confidential DOJ task force reviewing systemic bias in local law enforcement. For over a year, he'd worked behind the scenes. Until now, everything had been quiet. But they had just made it personal. By 8 a.m., 3 internal affairs officers arrived at the same precinct Maya had been booked in less than 24 hours earlier. They walked in without knocking. No smiles. No warnings. They requested all bodycam footage. They requested every officer's log. And they requested Officer Dean by name. Meanwhile, Maya sat at her kitchen table, still in her pajamas. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. "CNN wants to talk to you," her older cousin, Terence, said, looking up from her inbox. "I'm not doing any interviews," Maya said softly. "But girl, you're trending. Everyone wants your side." "I don't want to be a story. I just wanted to walk home from school." Her father walked in from the den, phone still in hand. "I know, baby," he said gently, "but sometimes the people who don't want the spotlight are the ones who deserve to speak the loudest." Maya looked down at her scraped hand. Then up at her father. "Okay, but not until after my math test." He laughed, half shocked, half proud. "You really going to school today?" "I missed too much already," she said. "And besides, I want them to see I'm not broken." By noon, the city's mayor had issued a public statement. "We are appalled by the incident involving Maya Caldwell. We fully support the ongoing investigation." But behind the scenes, things were moving faster than anyone expected. Officer Dean had a record, not criminal, but internal. 3 prior complaints of unnecessary force. All dismissed for lack of evidence. Until now. With Maya's footage, plus 2 different camera angles from witnesses, the story couldn't be buried. Later that day, the police chief held a press conference. The hall was full. "We have placed Officer Dean on immediate unpaid suspension pending the outcome of this investigation," the chief said. "Let me be clear, accountability will be enforced." But Maya didn't watch the press conference. She was sitting quietly in the back of her classroom, staring at the algebra on her desk. Her best friend, Lila, slid her a note that just said, "You're the strongest person I know." After school, Maya was picked up by someone different, her Uncle James. She hadn't seen him in months. "I heard what happened," he said, holding the car door open. "Thought I'd drive you to the courthouse myself." "The courthouse?" she blinked. "Why?" He smiled. "You've been requested to speak." Inside a private conference room downtown, Maya sat at the table with her dad, 2 senators, and a civil rights attorney. They weren't asking her to relive the trauma. They wanted her insight, her voice. "You handled yourself with extraordinary calm under pressure," one senator said. "Young people like you are exactly who we need guiding the next policies." Maya hesitated. "But I'm just a kid." Her father placed a hand on hers. "That's why it matters. Because the system forgot that. But you didn't." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Officer Dean resigned before charges could be formally filed. A federal review of that precinct's policing methods was launched. Maya and her family received a formal apology, not just from the city, but from the state attorney general's office. But the most powerful moment came unexpectedly. It happened on a quiet Saturday afternoon when Maya received a letter. Handwritten. From a mother in Chicago. It read, "Dear Maya, I don't know you, but I want to thank you. My son is 14. He's tall, brown-skinned, and wears hoodies. Last week, he got stopped by police while walking to the store. But this time, the officers treated him with respect. One of them said, 'We're being retrained now. Things are different. I believe you had something to do with that. Thank you for standing tall, even when they tried to bring you down. Maya folded the letter and held it to her chest. She realized something. She didn't need revenge. She had change. She didn't need to scream. She had a voice. And she didn't need to be feared. She just needed to be heard. Moral lesson. In a world where people are often judged by the color of their skin before the content of their character, courage is not loud, it's steady. It stands its ground, even when it's scared. Maya didn't plan to be a symbol. She just wanted fairness. But by standing calmly in truth, she forced a broken system to pause and look in the mirror. From Elliot Stories. To everyone watching right now, here's our message to you. You matter. No matter where you come from or what they say about you, your story has power. Never let anyone silence your truth. Whether you're walking home, sitting in class, or facing injustice, your calm strength can shake nations. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay kind, and remember, tomorrow's story is a banger you'll never want to miss. Don't forget to like, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to Elliot Stories, where we bring the truth to life. See you in the next one. Red Heart #.